Our next guest is the author of the poetry chapbook, What Binds Us, as well as a full-length collection set to release in April of next year by Press 53. Her work appears in numerous journals, including Barely South Review, Cream City Review, and Architects and Artisans. Cheryl served as writer-in-residence at Sister Right, was granted residency at Sundress Academy for the Arts, and is chair for the Burlington Writers Club Student Writing Contest. So please join me in welcoming Cheryl Wilder. Ah, there she is. Hi, Cheryl. Thank you so much. So I'm so glad that you could join us today. So I know, like many in the arts, I know probably people don't think about writers having been impacted by a pandemic, since people, I guess, think of writers as just sort of sitting in the house and writing anyway. But tell us a bit about how living in the midst of a pandemic has had an impact on your writing and your process.
For me, mostly it had to do with the fact that I have 2 first graders. And so once school closed down, a lot of my creativity time was pushed to the side. So I had to get creative. It's almost like when they were infants again, and I had to squeeze time out of nothing, which I was able to do. So that was my biggest piece. And then once we got into a routine and all the stress kind of sunk in, it was actually the one thing that I think thread through me that I was able to continue writing every day, even though I didn't look to complete a piece or for it to be, but I just needed to keep an outlet to keep the words going. So it both helped me as an artist to keep a thread of creativity going when I was so strapped for time, plus all the added stress. But then also it actually helped me process, because that's what writing does for me anyway. So it was actually this twofold thing that really worked out. And I'm so grateful. I wrote every day for 40 days straight. I kind of tried to complete at least a small poem every day, and then posted it.
Right. Yeah. So I remember seeing those on Facebook, and
yeah.
No, I think that's a really helpful thing. And I hope that it had inspired some folks to do the same, because it could be so helpful just to get it down on paper, whether it's published or not, just getting those thoughts.
I actually had a couple of people of my friends, non-writer friends, actually message me, and they're like, look what I wrote. And they got inspired to kind of write at least, a couple of times. So that was really fun. And they were thankful for that too.
No, that's great. That's something I think even our seniors could be doing at home right now if they're feeling kind of, I don't know, they need to sort of express whatever's going on. Just don't be afraid. It doesn't have to be pretty. You don't have to publish it, but just get the words out on the paper.
Exactly. And that's really what all I was doing. It didn't matter what it came to be. The punctuation didn't matter. It was really just about getting out those initial things. Of course, having been writing for so long, it comes out differently than somebody that doesn't write, but it doesn't matter. I mean, sometimes I just write questions. Why, what is going on? Oh, there's a bird, like it doesn't have to be anything, but it really helps to kind of clear the head a little bit.
Sure, definitely. Now, of course, we're going to shift a little bit. So not everything in the world is pandemic related. So I know you have a project called the Water Wheel Review. Did you want to tell us what that is?
Yeah, Water Wheel Review is a new online journal. And me and 2 of my writer friends, Claire Guyton, who primarily writes fiction, and Suzanne Farrell-Smith, who primarily writes creative nonfiction, and I primarily write poetry. We've been working together since 2012, just as writing like a cohort, and have long wanted to put this journal together. So the main idea is that we're not defining anything by genre. So we don't accept fiction or nonfiction or poetry, or we just accept words as long as the piece is under 1,302 words, I believe. So short pieces. And one of the great things that we're excited about is that we wanted to do a journal that actually used the internet, kind of the beauty of what the internet can do with multimedia. So each written piece that we will publish will be paired as a triptych. So there'll be a piece of art and maybe a piece of music or an ad or something else to kind of complement and talk to the written work. You can go to waterwheelreview.com, and our homepage will be the issue. We publish once a month, only 3 artists or 3 writers with their companion pieces, as we're calling them right now. But there's a sample issue right there, so you can kind of see. It's fun. Like one piece talks about operant conditioning, Skinner. And so you have a video on what operant conditioning is, and then you have an ad from the 1950s. And, it's just kind of a fun way to use the internet and to bring literature, because, I love reading. I mean, I love writing. I love everything to do with a paper book. But with the internet, we wanted to just see what else we could do, make it a little more dynamic. So it's exciting.
That's really cool. That's really cool. So if someone wanted to participate in that, they would just go, would there be information on that site?
Yep. If you go to the website, there's a submit page, and it kind of gives you the guidelines. And then you just go into what's submittable, which some people may or may not know. It's a submission manager that most online journals use. It's very easy. Just kind of log it, you put your name in, follow the bouncing ball, attach your piece, and that piece. And we read what's called blind, which means we don't know who wrote the piece. There's no name attached.
Sure.
So we don't know. So even if you, Krista, were to submit, I would never know it was your piece. And another fun thing that we're working with is.
No, that's great.
Yeah.
That's great. So I could just submit whatever and not be embarrassed if you don't like it, because you won't even know it was me. Very good. So, but I know you're not embarrassed about your poem. So if do you have a few you can share with us today?
Yeah, I was gonna share. So when I started writing my daily poems during the pandemic on March 22nd, I kind of woke up that morning after the first full week of homeschool and just had my first big deep cry and didn't know exactly what to do. So I decided I would write. And so there's no titles. They're very short. If we have time for the 3, if not, I can just read the one. But so this one is just March 22nd. The poet cried this morning. Worms aggregate the soil. Rain doesn't fall. There's no need. The cleansing has begun. March 23rd. The soil has moved over thousands of years to make way. There is no end, though the end draws near. We wash each day our dirt again and again and again. We wake and sweep the front porch. And March 24th. The broom is clenched between my teeth. I want to bite the world's ills into pieces and brush them into the mulch. All I can do is let go, massage my jaw, pick splinters from my gum line and do nothing, like emptiness inside a bucket as it's carried to the well.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
If people want to see more of your writing,
my website is bornwilder.com.
Okay.
So born and my last name, Wilder, obviously. That's where I put everything on there. I do have Facebook, but I have a very questionable relationship with Facebook. So the most reliable place is my website.
Excellent, excellent. And they can find out about your chat book and everything on there as well.
Yep, chat book and I send out a blog post once a month and a newsletter, just kind of with some image quotes, just kind of thinking through process. It's fun. So yeah, they can sign up for that, which would be great. And then keep up with any events that eventually will happen with the book coming out next year and anything else local. I want to start pushing more community events once we get back out. So
sure, absolutely. Well, thank you so much, Cheryl, for coming on and sharing your poetry with us and some of what you've been doing during the pandemic. We appreciate your time and all of that.
Thank you, Chris. It's wonderful to be here. I've been watching the whole thing.
Thank you so much. All right.
Bye.
Bye.